Yeah, you know what that music means. It means it's Free Speech Friday. It's time to get a couple of straight-talking Kiwis on with me to chew through the events of the week and speak their minds freely, which is what the platform is all about. I'm not sure we've had this pairing before, and I don't mean that in the biblical sense. Joining us, though, is former head of Winds, local body politician and active New Zealander, Christine Rankin. Christine, lovely to have you with us again. It's been a while.
Good morning and thank you, and it's lovely to be back. And yes, you have had us on together before.
Oh, okay. So you do know. I don't need to do introductions. Our other panellist, Free Speech panellist, is Maurice Williamson, former National Party Cabinet Minister, and of course now Super City politician, the man who wields the razor for Mayor Wayne Brown. Nice to have you back, Maurice. How are you?
You got it right for the second half. It wasn't in the biblical sense, but we have been together on your show.
Okay. All right.
Yes, don't start rumours, for goodness sake.
Ginny Anderson will start talking about us.
Yeah, that's right. How many people have you killed?
No, what's your tally?
Yeah, what's your tally? It was
Dear Lord.
Look, I got to say, I haven't paid too much attention to that story. That's a little bit of argy-bargy. I don't agree. Argy-bargy is one thing. When you actually accuse somebody on radio or TV that you went out and were paid to kill people, and how many did you kill? What was your tally? Paying to kill somebody, I think, crossed the line, and I think she's going to have some big regrets over that stuff. But it was so demonstrably ridiculous what she was claiming. And at the end of the day, the only person she shot was herself in the foot, which she then put in her mouth.
It was hideous. I was really angry about it too, and I do think it's going to reflect very badly on her.
Okay, do you guys telling me it's not over?
Oh, no, I don't think it's over.
No way.
No.
Well, what? He's not going to sue her for defamation? There's no parliamentary sanction on saying that, is there?
I don't think it's to do with that. I just think it's to do with credibility. You know, will she be able to go back on that radio show again? I would doubt they could have her back again like that. I mean, it's just something, you can throw away lines that are really stupid and you regret them afterwards and you wish you hadn't done it. But you go out, and it wasn't that she even said it and then stopped. She doubled down on it and was absolutely adamant. No, he was paid to go and just kill people. And then you hear there's a really good podcast, and the rest is politics, with a guy called Rory Stewart, who's a British MP. And he's talking about when he was there in Iraq and under unbelievable fire and rockets coming at them from insurgents and trying to get sort of citizens out. And he said this fabulous ex-New Zealand policeman, Mark Mitchell, provided safety and security and coverage for us and UN staff to get out of these compounds. I mean, Mark Mitchell did stuff that I would be too bloody scared to even think of doing. And then to be accused of going out and for money killing people, and what was your tally, was just a dreadful thing.
And I see David Shearer stood up, crossed, if you like, the party political line and said, Ginny, that's BS. You're way off the reservation.
Yeah.
I think it also shows how rattled they are by National at the moment. Mark Mitchell, to me, is courageous. I like him. I like the fact that he gets out there right in the middle of it and he talks about it the way it is. And he's had quite a lot to say about what they haven't done. And I think the whole new government is rattling them a lot. And she is nasty. She's been nasty for a long time.
Has she ever been nasty to you, Christine?
No, I've never laid eyes on her, but that doesn't stop people going after me. They usually know nothing about me, but they have many opinions.
Yeah, well, you were back in the news this week. I see yourself hawking yourself round to the mainstream media outlets because people came to talk to you. And look, the opening narrative, young Ben here, he went down to the Prime Ministerial press conference on Monday. And sort of we go down there and I think we look and we say, okay, what is the news media's anti-government narrative stream this week? And it was, Ben said, it's that they're beneficiary bashers. Because the government has decided, lo and behold, to simply enforce pre-existing sanctions for people who are taking the mickey out of the benefit system. Same sanctions that were there under Labor, who it would appear just couldn't be bothered enforcing them. And I've got to say, we had one of the most remarkable days of talkback radio on this show since we've started on the platform. And a huge number of women rang in, absolutely, and women who'd been on the DPB and taken welfare and had grown-up kids and stuff and lived this life like you have, Christine, and they were all totally supportive of the new government's take on this, and their line was the system has to have integrity and you shouldn't be able to basically use it as a soft option.
And this is a long-standing Labor Party policy. When I was the Chief Executive, we got more people off benefit and into work, and we had a special way to support them. We supported them for a year after they went to work with a national government support. My Minister, Roger Surrey, was just amazing. And when I told Mahari how many people we got off that year, he said, "Who do you think you are? You're getting them into entry-level jobs and you shouldn't be placing them unless you," this was 22 years ago, "unless you can get them a job paying more than $30,000 a year. Why should they work?" That was the minister's
Well, I would
word.
presume, Christine, because it changes your whole life and attitude, and it's the gateway to a better future.
Absolutely it is. You rot on a benefit. You've got to work changes you, it changes your family, it changes your community. I used to tell my people that all the time. They're privileged to get someone into work. That's the beginning of a life.
Yeah. Morris, I guess, though, Steve Mahari would have been angry at Christine all those years ago, because how do you manipulate someone and stop them being dependent and voting for the left like cannon fodder if they actually develop their own independent life and thoughts?
Oh, look, that's exactly right. What I think is, the number of people I've seen who have come off of welfare benefit and got into a job and have just flourished and gone on to amazing things and said, thank God someone was putting the bloody pressure on me and saying, you're not going to keep being paid to just sit around doing nothing, playing Xbox. It is actually it's in their best interest that pressure is put on them. It's not this idea that it's cruel, that we're going on about cruel. I think what's cruel is leaving people to rot and vegetate on a bloody welfare system for the rest of their life.
Well, we had some amazing calls on Monday. One woman, I think she was in her mid-30s, she had a 27-year-old brother and she rang up to express disgust. She was been brought up by a Solu mum who'd been on the DPP, but she was married with kids and working. I think that she was running a little business, but she said, I cannot believe it. They've just given my brother, and there's nothing wrong with him, he's just addicted to gaming and still living at mum's house at 27. She said they've just moved him on to a sickness benefit, and the only thing sick about him is he can't be asked working.
He's got crook thumbs.
Crook thumbs.
No, well, I was one of those people. I was on DPB and got a job as a temporary clerk at the Department of Social Welfare because I needed to work, and I actually wanted to work off a benefit, but it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It changed my life.
Yeah. Look, the one thing that did emerge, though, and that almost every call, and I said hugely for us, a proportionately very high number of women, and maybe it's empathy, I don't know, don't want to make sweeping generalisations, but a lot of them said the one thing that is perhaps could be used to get people more motivated is the abatement rates for when you start earning a little bit of extra income and people do it's not worth me working because it's all going to get clawed back off me. Do we think that margin needs to be changed a little bit?
I believe it does. There has to be incentives, just especially in the early part of it. And we did it a different way. If their car broke down, we'd actually pay to get it fixed after they'd gone to work. We did that for a year. Yeah. Anything they needed, we stepped in because far better to have that than be on a benefit. But if you change that tax rate, that would make a huge difference to them wanting to in the first place. Yes.
Yeah, and that's a social investment, Morris, isn't it? That pays off generations down the track.
It's absolutely a small amount invested getting you a big return. But Sean, I really want to go back to one thing. This big announcement was those who can work should. And I heard all about, well, what about the poor person who's a cripple and they can't get their Zimmer frame down the stairs? That's not the person. We're talking about people who are sitting on their ass doing nothing for year on year and being paid by hard-working taxpayers, some of them on minimum wage, paying taxes to support them. It's wrong. It's absolutely bloody wrong, and I'm delighted someone's starting to say we're calling that out and going to say if you can work, then you are going to work.
But guys, that's not the story you're going to read in the mainstream media. It's all about how mean the National Party is. How they got horns growing out their ears.
No, they use the word in the debates. They were using the word. It's cruel. It's cruel to make people who can work go to work.
Yeah. Christine,
What bullshit?
do you think...
bullshit?
Yeah. Call it like you see it. Call it like you see it. But at least, Christine, I'll say that there has been a change. They actually came mainstream media and talked to you. And I don't know they would have a year ago.
No, Mike would have. Mike always would have. ZB would have. The rest haven't.
Yep.
They would have a year ago, absolutely. They definitely would have. I used to get a lot of calls, but Mike was the only one this time. And I think that said a lot because he supported the new policy. Of course he did.
Yeah. Mind you, Mike's never been near a benefit in his life. In terms of having
Of course not.
I can remember being on the dole as a very young man, and it was the worst 6 months of my life until I got a job after 3 months under the table.
Yep.
It was better. Guys, we're going to take a break. We'll move on to other things. We've got to play some ads.